Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to another episode in my community question series. We're now on episode 10. Thank you guys so much for your participation in my question series. I have really enjoyed reading your wonderful answers to my questions, and there have been a few people who have done video responses answering the questions. I have really enjoyed watching those as well. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and it's just been a real pleasure of mine to share my answers with you guys to these questions I ask. But it's even more excitement for me is to read your guys' answers to the question. You get your guys' insight. It's just fun to get discussions going, talking about video games. We love this stuff. I have a big passion for it, and it's great to share it with others and get their insight into games and get what they're passionate about. I just love that stuff. Chatting about games and stuff, and so that's why I created this series. And I really do appreciate all the participation that everybody has been showing to my channel. You guys are awesome, and I really appreciate it. Always, I remind you guys that there will be a contest that I will hold at the end of this series. And for every video that you answer the question, you will get an entry in. You can actually get up to 2 entries per video by answering the question as a comment and by answering the question as a video response. And I do ask if you guys do film a video response, please leave a link as a comment so I can check out your video, because YouTube doesn't always let me know when you guys upload videos. It just has to do with the YouTube algorithm and stuff. Sometimes I will miss it, and I would hate for you guys to not get credit for the video that you took time to film. So please just leave a link for me to check out. So for episode 10 here, I'm going to ask you guys a question which I think some people might have a hard time with this, but I want to know, what is your favorite game of all time? Now, I know this is going to be kind of hard, and some people might not be able to just answer with one game. So if you're not able to just pinpoint it down to one game, which I actually do, and I'll share it with you guys here in a moment, maybe you guys can go, like, you can tell me a couple games, or maybe your favorite game for a certain console or something if you guys have a hard time narrowing it down. But I would like to know what your guys' favorite game of all time is. Like I said, if you have a hard time, you can always talk about more than one game if you have a really hard time. I know some people might have a hard time narrowing it down the list. I know it's really difficult, but this is just one game that I love, and it's absolute favorite game of all time. If I could only ever play one game for the rest of my life, this is the game I would pick and play. And that is The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind for the original Xbox. Now, this was also released on the PC, of course, but this game absolutely blew my mind when I first played it and watched it. Now, my brother had Morrowind. This is actually his copy that he gave me. I got a new case for it because it was kind of beat up. But this is actually his copy that he was playing, and I used to watch him play it, but I never really connected much to the game at that point, just watching somebody play it. And I completely forgot about it until I bought my own copy of the game when I went to GameStop, which it might have been EB Games at that time, because it was originally, that store was Funko Land, then it turned into an EB Games, and then it turned into GameStop. And it's actually still a GameStop, and it's still there. I do occasionally go to it still, so it's just really cool. Of course, there's nobody there back when I first started going to it over 21 years ago. That's all new people now, of course, but it's still cool that the store is still there, and it's still in the same location, so that's really cool. So when I was there looking for games to buy, because I had the original Xbox and I wanted to get new games, the I actually had picked up this game, and I forgot about that my brother had it, and that he owned it, and that we actually played it. So I forgot all about this game, and I went to pick it up and bring it up to the thing, because I was just reading the back. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's a sequel to those Elder Scrolls games on the PC that I liked. Like, that's kind of cool. And it says, live another life, so you can play any character you can imagine, from the heroic warrior to a secret assassin. You can explore another world. The enormous game world is open and free for you to discover. Go anywhere you want and do anything you want. Next generation technology, realistic textures and objects, incredible polygon counts, and advanced weather systems truly take you to another world, which is really cool. And then it talked about how it had top 20 games of E3 GameSpot, best of E3 for RPGs, the Elder Scrolls series, GameSpy Hall of Fame, best RPG of E3, computer gaming world. So I just looked really cool. So I was bringing this actually up to the counter, And the guy that works there was a buddy of mine, was a really cool guy. His name was Bill, and he was like, "Hey, dude, you want to get Morrowind?" He's like, "Here, you got to get this better version of Morrowind." I said, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, trust me." He's like, "I love this game." He's like, "But you want to get the full experience for it." He's like, "I got one of these copies left." He's like, "Now it's a little bit more money. I think this was like, at the time, this one was 10, and this other one here was like 15." And he's like, "You got to get this version. This is Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, but this is the Game of the Year edition." And he's like, this has the main game that you have in your hand there, but this also has 3 big expansion packs for our 3. I mean, the main game and 2 big expansion packs. Sorry, guys. 2 big expansion packs for the game. They'll add a lot of content for you. And so I got this Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind Game of the Year edition, and I had taken the bus up there, and on the ride home, I was just reading through the wonderful manual, just looking at all the details about the different characters and stuff that were in the game. And I'm going to look at it here to, just to go over some of the stuff I had discovered. It was just interesting, seeing that this was a 3D adventure game, where other ones were, other games I had played at the time, were like the isometric top-down view or side-scrolling and stuff. There wasn't too many huge, big 3D open worlds like this was, and so it just looked really cool. And it just was going over the different characters you can play as, the races. Like, my favorite one to always play in these Elder Scrolls games are these Argonians, which they're a race of reptilian lizards. But then you also have Bretons, which kind of look like, are basically like humans. You have Dark Elves, then you have High Elves, you have Imperials. Another one that's really cool are the Khajiits, which are big cat people. Those are kind of cool. You also have Nords. They also have Orcs. You can play as Orcs. You can play as Wood Elf, or you can play as a Redguard. So, they have different races in the world, and you can play different kind of characters. And so I thought that was something that was just so incredible and really neat at the time. And have all these, it talks about the different attributes and magic and stuff, because I've always been a big fan of wizards and mages and stuff, and so that's what I wanted to play as. And so I created an Argonian, and I made an Argonian mage or wizard, which is not an easy character to play as, because each of the races kind of like based around the kind of class they want you to be as. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do my own, which that was another aspect too I really liked about this game, is you actually could create your own custom class and create the character that you wanted your own way, whether you wanted to be, strong in weapons, or you wanted to be stronger in magic and stuff. And then this game also, had different things you could play as, like battle mages. So they're like guys that use weapons and magic and stuff, or maybe you wanted to be a stealth character, so you could you could become a stealth guy and do assassination stuff. Or maybe you wanted to do something else, in the game. You play as a warrior, or, play as an archer. Like, you could play the kind of character you want to play as in the game. So that was something I was really fascinated with, and just loved how detailed that was. And then it was really cool, getting this, because it had the extra stuff on top of it, which, it talks about, you have the original arm, but then they had this tribunal expansion pack, which you can visit the city of Mournhold, the clockwork city of Sil, each complete with new creatures, new quests, new armor, and new weapons, and much more. So that was really cool. It's enhancing the game. Once you beat the main game, you can go and beat this extra content too, which is awesome. And then my favorite thing they had in this was Blood Moon. Venture to the frozen island of, I never say this right, the Sulthsame, filled with even more challenges for high-level characters, or become a werewolf and indulge in your thirst for the hunt, which was so awesome. Like, you could become a werewolf in the game. And so I always wanted to become a werewolf. I actually have not become a werewolf in the game, even though I've been playing this game since I bought this game, and I've got like 600 hours in the game, and I'm still playing. I haven't beat everything, and it's just that massive of a game. But that's something that was really cool that caught my eye. I was like, wow, it has werewolves in the game. And then I discovered they actually had vampires in the game too, to which you could fight in the game, which is cool. And you could become a vampire yourself, and there was drawbacks to it and stuff like that, and some perks. And it was just really cool. There was a main story to follow through, and so I did buy the big Game of the Year edition strategy guide for this, because it was chock full of stuff. Now, of course, this game, because of how big it was, which I was amazed that it fit on the original Xbox with all this stuff in it, was plagued with bugs and long load times and stuff like that. But for me, that really adds to the charm. I mean, there was ways you could glitch around at the beginning of the game. Like you could jump through a wall and then you could never get in trouble, which was really cool. Like if you do stuff, you could commit crimes in this. You could actually get arrested. Like the guard sees you stealing somebody's table or their sword out of their house, they'll stop you and confiscate your goods and make you pay money. And if you can't pay money, they throw you in jail. And then a little bit later, it would let you out, and then it would say, while you were in jail, some of your skills declined. Or you could reject that, and say, basically like, fuck you, I'm not going to jail. And then the guards will come attack you, and they're like super strong and would kill you. It was just memorable, and there was just wonderful. The voice acting I loved in this game was great. I liked the characters in the story. There was some game breaking stuff in the game as far as like there's no protection. Like if you guys have played the newer Elder Scrolls game, like Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion or Skyrim or anything, and you kill a character, they're just knocked out and they revive. This game did not have that protection for you. So if you killed a main character, you could actually break the game and can't complete the story. Now, of course, it would tell you, it said, you have ruined the world of Morrowind. It'll never be the same again, yada, yada. And so you want to make sure that you had plenty of saves because you could kill somebody and then ruin the story, which, again, for me, adds to the charm of it. Which there was actually some vampire stories in this game, and I didn't realize at the time when I went through these different vampire areas, I killed them all, that I destroyed all my access to the vampire story if I actually wanted to become one, because I killed everybody in there. So I learned that, once I learned that, I was very careful who I would kill in the game. So that was one thing that's where that strategy guy came in handy. I want to make sure, oh hell, I don't want to kill this Joe somebody guy because it might ruin the game and I want to have to start over. And I do create a lot of save files on these type of games just in case a file or something messes up like that. I could get it. I also love the aspect of just exploring the world of Morrowind, the whole area, and just checking out all the different sites and stuff. It was just really cool. So many different enemies you could run into this game. Ice golems, fire golems, little goblin guys, orcs to fight, other Argonians. It was just cool. Demon creatures. There's different creatures that like these bat-looking guys that fly around. And it was just really cool. Ghosts. Like, it was just packed with so much content that it was just an amazing game. And it's just my all-time favorite game. I have like 600 hours into this game. Now, I haven't been playing it the last several years. I haven't really put any time into it, but this was a game that I just got lost in. I could play it like 8 hours straight, just play through it, and just kept discovering different things in the game. And I just have one main character. Now, I know some people who went through and beat the whole game and they had multiple characters and stuff, but me, I've just literally been would go through all the maps and try to clear out all the different dungeons and get loot and stuff. And I was actually able to build a house in in the storyline. You can join one of the different factions and they'll actually build a house for you as you go through. This also had guilds and stuff in it too, which was awesome. Like you could join the Mages Guild. You go through the story and you actually could take over the Mages Guild, or they had the Thieves Guilds where you steal stuff, and you had the Fighters Guild. Like, it was just really cool. There was all kinds of different factions in the game which you could align yourself to and do, and unlocks missions and stuff, and then also unlock perks and things for you, which is really cool. This had some stuff that the newer ones didn't have, like levitation, where you could throw a spell, and I could make my guy like float up in the air as long as I had enough mana for the spell, and you could get to places you shouldn't be able to get to, which was pretty cool. And so they had different things like that. They have teleporting ability. I love, like you could teleport to your home from anywhere you're out in the world. Because if you got over encumbered by meaning you had too much loot, your guy would be stuck and he couldn't move. Now, like in later games, they made it where you would just move really slow, but this one you were kind of stuck. So I would load up a whole bunch of loot because you could just drop it on the floor and it would stay there. I would grab stuff out of and go to a cave or something, and I would kill all the enemies, and I would go drop all the loot. Then I would know I couldn't carry it all. I would get it all, and then I would teleport to my house, and then I would dump it all off in the house. And it was really cool. The game had a feature, not always, that couldn't put everything in it, but your random stuff you would set around the homes would actually disappear and would go into a big extra loot bag, something like that I called it. But once that was overfilled, then the stuff would just stay. Now, I remember that I actually went to an NPC's house. There was some like crazy lady in one of the villages, and I killed her because she was like a secret evil person, and I just stole her house, and I just used her house, like her bed and stuff, and because the guards never came or anything like that, and I just took over her house and used that as my house until I got my own build, and then I transferred everything over to that house. So like it's just was a phenomenal game. If you've never experienced Morrowind, you gotta play it on the original Xbox. Now this is compatible with the Xbox 360, and you can play it on the Xbox One X, and I'm sure that it'll be compatible on the Xbox Series X or whatever. And then when you play it on the new consoles now, it really fixes a lot of the graphical issues, the performance, the game runs a lot smoother, loads faster and stuff, so that's definitely the way to go. Unfortunately, there's no way that I know of to get my save file from my old 360, because I would do that in a heartbeat. I would get that save file if I could and play it on the Xbox One, because it would just be the ideal way to play it. But you know, it just has a charm, a special place in my heart. I just love this game, and that's why it's my favorite game of all time. You know, I love RPGs, big open worlds that give you hundreds and hundreds of hours of content to do, and you can kind of just do whatever you want, play the game at your own pace, and that's the kind of games I like, and that's what this game was. And so just playing this just blew my mind, and it's just crazy to think that, you know, I watched my brother play his copy, and I just never put two and two together, like, until I got this one, that, oh yeah, my brother played that game. And then when he got out of the original Xbox, he gave me his copy, so I have both of these here. They are wonderful games. You guys should definitely pay Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind for the original Xbox. Yeah, you can play the PC version, but for the consoles, this is one of the best RPGs on the original Xbox, in my opinion. I mean, other people might like some other games, RPGs, Jade Empire or something, or Star Wars Knights of the Republic, but for me, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind is just my favorite all-time game. It's just an amazing game. Blew my mind when I bought it, just how much stuff they could fit into this game, and I just love the aspect, all the things you can do in the game. It's just wonderful. But I would love to hear your guys' answer. If you're able to, you know, what's your favorite game of all time? If you have a hard time narrowing down to one, you know, give me a couple games that you guys like, and just let me know why you like them. What is it, something you like about them? Because this will give me an idea of some other games to check out that I would love to be able to play. So let me know. You guys can, as I said, you know, you can answer this question as a comment, or you can film a video response answering this question. If you do the video response, just please share the link with me as a comment so I can find your video, because I would hate to miss it. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care. You guys have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see you next time.